In America last November, 14 Indians seized Alcatraz Island in San Francisco Bay. Today, 800 Indians occupy the island. Alcatraz was the site of America's most notorious prison. It was closed in 1963 because it was too expensive to maintain. It's bleak and windswept, presenting a grim appearance even in the spring sunshine. Alcatraz is federal government property. San Francisco City has the first option to buy it for $1 million, but there are still no firm plans for its future. Proposals range from turning it into a wildlife sanctuary to making it a miniature Las Vegas. None of the buildings are fit for human habitation. In these cells were held such infamous criminals as Mickey Cohen, Machine Gun Kelly, and best known of all, Al Capone. In a proclamation issued when they first took over the island, the Indians announced that, in their opinion, Alcatraz compares well with an Indian reservation. They have offered not $1 million, but $24, which was the price earlier Indians were paid for Manhattan Island, New York. Indians are the most underprivileged minority in the United States. Their life expectancy is 44 years compared with a national average of 65. Unemployment is 10 times the national average, wages a quarter of it, and infant mortality double. Alcatraz has now become for them a symbol of freedom, a concrete expression of their determination to improve their living standards.
Well, I think it's important to the Indians because primarily this is the first move that the Indians have made in my lifetime to try to change the conditions of their people.
Why did you pick on Alcatraz?
Well, Alcatraz is a lot of things for us. It's a lot like the land that we're used to. I mean, there's nothing here, and there's nothing on reservations either. And decrepit buildings and broken down buildings, that's all you see on reservations, and of course that's what we have here. But I think Alcatraz primarily, to a lot of us, means a lot more because Alcatraz used to be a prison for our people, you know. Originally, before it was a federal prison, it was a prison for Indian warriors that dissented against the United States government or the established government at that time. And of course, a lot of our California warriors were held here as prisoners.
You've been in repossession now for getting on for 4 month. Are you confident you're going to stay here forever?
Well, we're going to stay here whether they give it to us or not. And if they don't give it to us, well, we'll stay here and fight it through the courts. Or they'll come in and take us off bodily because we're not going to leave.
The immediate problem for the Indians is food supplies. The island is barren with scant vegetation, and there's no hope for the Indians to grow their own produce. They're dependent on donations from well-wishers. Supplies come in from all over America, and not just from Indians.
How are you managing to continue financing this operation?
Well, we're getting donations from private sources.
How much does it cost you to run Alcatraz now?
Oh, we're spending maybe $1,000 a week to feed the people here, pay our boats.
And where do you get the money from?
Well, private donations. People.
From what sort of people?
Well, the small people, the people.
Indian people mostly?
No, the non-Indian. For one, very little Indian financial support.
Is money a problem to you?
Oh yes, it's always a problem.
Does it threaten to make you evacuate the island?
Oh no.
The authorities still keep a discreet eye on the island. The Indians base their claim to Alcatraz on a century-old treaty which gives the Sioux Indian a right to any land abandoned by the government. They've made the island their own, and more families move in every week.
How long have you been living on Alcatraz?
For a week.
For a week. Do you like it here?
Longer.
What do you do all the time?
Play in the carts and
Play in
everything.
the cats. Do you go to school? Do you go to school here? Is it fun? Is it nice? What do you do at school?
Talk. Work and everything.
Work
and read.
Uh-huh. Where did you come from?
Santa Rosa.
Huh? Is it nicer here than Santa Rosa? Good.
The Indians have asked the government for a grant of $75,000 to modernize the island. Already they're working on plans to pull down all the existing buildings and turn Alcatraz into an Indian educational and cultural center. They're anxious that the occupation of Alcatraz be seen as a gesture for all American Indians.
Well, we want a university here, we want an ecology center, we want an Indian museum, we want a Native American Studies department. We want to do something here for our own people. The white man's tried to educate us for the last 400 years, and it's been a dismal failure. So we should be allowed the opportunity to try to see what we can do for our own people.